Creating your own NFT project is hard enough, but then building an amazing community behind it, well, in this day and age when there are so many NFT projects out there, it's pretty hard going. But don't worry, you can still learn and you can still be inspired by people who are doing it in the right way. And the Dapper Dinos are a great example of this. They have amassed an incredible 20,000 followers on Twitter and 15,000 followers on Discord and counting. Also, these guys have been working really closely from the early stages of their project with Veefriends, and that's really helped them get on the right path and put the right first steps forward. You'll learn everything in this video, from how they managed to evade a bot invasion on their launch, all the way through to seeing how proactive the community is. Plus, it's a really great project for those next generation of NFT enthusiasts. And yep, we're talking about the kids. So let's dive right in.
So I guess I am a little dino obsessed. You know, I know the A's to the Z's of all the dinos now. So the Ankylosaurus to the Pachycephalosaurus. Chris and I have been in the NFT space probably deep for
January-ish.
Yeah, I don't know what got the itch on it, but we just got it and have been so deep on it. And then, you know, Chris being the creative and our kids being obsessed and us being obsessed with NFTs, it just kind of felt like a natural fit to try and launch our own and you know, do something special for our kids. We also noticed in the space that there were at that time was like no dinosaur, you know, dino projects. So we are kind of the first there, you know, so it kind of just became this full circle of creative process. Again, seeing very much the buzz, but also just seeing the attachment that people have to NFTs.
Do you ever expect it to take off in the way that it did? Because it's incredible.
We did have a little help, a little shove, so that we were Gary Vee's, or the Veefriends first PLP, which is the project launch program. So he kind of we got selected to be kind of his first project, which means we gave away for free 555 dinos to the Veefriends community. Which, if you've never been part of that community, they're first off, it's like the friendliest community in the whole world.
Absorbed a lot of those followers after he dropped our project, which is good.
And that kind of gave us a really big starting point. But even before that, we probably had like 400 to 600 like really passionate community members. It was small, got bigger, and it was, you know, we had like, you know, family drawing nights and all kinds of just things that really got people involved. And then right up to the lead up, we did the big like 12 days of dinos, a little riff off of the Christmas song. And each day was a competition, which the whole community got involved in. You'd see incredible, you know, people were decorating eggs and doing drawings and baking and all this stuff that kind of brought the whole community together. So, I mean, yes, we got to push. I like to think that we had a really good idea hitting at the right time, with a community built around fun, engagement. Am I missing anything, Chris? I think it's
yeah, I mean, I think the 12 days of dinos was really a key part of seeing how the community could get involved and how they did. Like, they really embraced it. And I mean, it almost made it like easy to an extent, just watching like different artwork roll in, and then you would have, like Rick was mentioning, the dishes. Like, people were cooking meals and building creations out of food that were like dino themed. I mean, there were so many different amazing.
Yeah, like it's very easy to put that stuff on Twitter, which gets people like, oh, that's really cool. This community is doing this. Like, so people just naturally want to then flow in and like check it out. And then when you come into our Discord and everyone's like, welcome, you don't own a dino yet, that's fine. Come in and, you know,
find out more about us.
Yeah, we have dino trivia. I'm a dad joke king, you know. So like, you know, we try and put who you are, put it out on Twitter, you know, put it out on places where people read it. And if you get somebody to laugh, they're more than likely gonna. That's more than 99% of what's out there.
And also there were a couple, you know, when we did our drop, there were a couple hiccups in that, and the community came together and rallied around that as well, and like helped people out.
Were you guys in crypto before, or is this all kind of, you jumped straight into NFTs?
I've been involved doing in some way, shape, or form probably since like 2011. I've been doing some kind of Bitcoin mining, Litecoin mining, algorithmic trading, all kinds of. I've had the itch of it for a long time. Yeah. But I say this all the time. Then I got NFTs, and what the biggest thing about them was I call it like decentralized finance, DeFi, but fun.
Yeah.
That was the big thing that was such a difference maker when you try and like, not just trading, just getting into things like, you know, and then Chris obviously being the creative and the, you know, artistic, he's like, this art's incredible. Like you have to check out this, like this guy's doing a drop, and I don't even know if it's going to do good, but like the art is so much better than my stuff. Like just go look at it. And 9 times out of 10, he's right too, you know? So if you're, you know, the people really do get attracted to the art of it all. And that's something you don't see in the rest of crypto.
Yeah. So Rick, we know that you are you're a you're the lead developer in this team, and Chris, you are the creative. Is this kind of your day jobs? Does this lend itself quite well to NFTs?
But my background is a motion designer, so I've been doing that since 2005, working for a bunch of different companies like MTV and Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
this wasn't like uncharted territory for either of you guys. It was just about, let's bring your skills together and let's do it in a way that you think is going to, I suppose, hit a gap in the market that hasn't been touched yet. And that's where Dapper Dinos comes in. So that's brilliant. So we know you've got the tech background, right? And that's one big thing. But I've spoken to a lot of creators in the space who kind of go, yeah, we may have followings outside. We may have, you know, outside of this NFT space, we may be well known, like lots of photographers and stuff. It doesn't really mean anything when it comes to NFTs. Everyone kind of starts on a level playing field and has to build that community up from scratch. The initial step into building your community, cast your minds back. How did that start for you? What were the kind of bumps in the road or the things that actually surprised you at how easy, if it was easy, that building a community was?
100% the hardest part of the entire project is keeping or building a community, keeping it engaged, growing it. Like it's for us, at least, it was it still is the hardest part. Like there's always somebody that has like a difference of opinion. So you're sort of like trying to balance the two, you know, what's the right move that's not going to upset the majority of the community. We figured out a lot of ways not to do things. I'll tell you that much.
I'd say the number one was just, again, build whatever you're building, right? Is build from a place of passion. Doesn't matter what you're doing, because the community will feed on that. I think if you're not into it, the community is not going to be into it. So I think even like the more we leaned into just like showing the art as it was coming along, like showing the kids' interactions with it, building the story and the narrative around why, and making sure that's powerful. Because up until that point, it's an NFT project, and that's not to downplay all the rest. It's like, why do Bored Apes or Cool Cats go huge and one of the other ones don't? It's, you know, a lot of it's probably the art. A lot of it has to do with just being first in the space, or the right connections, or the right eyes, and the right Twitter influencer, or their, you know, what have you. There's a lot of reasons that virility happens. But when you're just starting, you have to make sure, like, if you don't have a story and you don't have something that like people relate with, then what you end up having is, you know, a pretty quiet community that you'll pop in like, hey guys, what's going on? And, you know, you'll do you'll throw a GIF in there or something. And it's certainly not going to be the, you know, where you can't even keep control of the general and you have to put slow mode on because people are talking too fast. And that's where everybody wants to get to. I mean, you want to get to having a place that people feel home, I guess, even in Discord. Like we had different channels set up for cooking and video games and sports.
I think particularly with the pandemic and how that has hit and how people have changed their behaviors and their habits, mental health has been a huge thing. And actually, like, Discord is new to me because of NFTs, and lots of people have discovered Discords and discovered communities that fit with them, and they feel accepted, they feel safe, they feel invited, and people are very generous in those spaces. And I think people actually really cling on to those communities because those friends they may never have met beyond an avatar, but they're actually friends now. And that's what the power of NFTs is. The community has grown exponentially. Are you still both managing it? Have you developed out into a team to help? Have you got moderators and things to help?
Oh yes, yeah. I mean,
we have a great team of mods, and like they're super active in the community. That they're always telling us what we can do better, which is like, we ask for it because we don't know everything, and there's so many like opinions that have changed the way we've done things. It's great. I mean, what do we have, like 8, 9 now mods that are,
yeah, and you know, they're your eyes and ears. They're, you know, I'll say with the thing we do well, and that I will give ourselves a pat on the back, is we try to pop in at least once a day for, you know, and that's not true because I'm on my phone all the time, which means I'm popping in all the time to either throw the little eyeballs emoji or say like, I hear you guys and I'm here working behind the scenes, but I'm here. We try and do a good town hall or AMA once a week, just so that like people are hearing from us. That people want to believe in a project and believe in your mission and believe what you're doing, which means they have to hear from you more than just text. So those pieces we do. But at the end of the day, we have a whole bunch of mods that are when we're sleeping. We do sleep, shocker. Who are getting more the pulse of like what they think could do better. So every day, every week, we're iterating to make sure that a Discord's a little smoother, a little bit more welcoming. Our Twitter presence is saying the right messaging. I think we're being told we got to use TikTok more, and Chris and I can't promise are avid TikTokers. I mean, I know what it is, but it's not like I missed that. That's a little younger, skews a little younger.
We know that obviously, building the Discord is a big thing. And also alongside that, the Twitter. You guys also have a really good following on Instagram as well. So you branched out into, I find it quite ironic with Instagram because it's such a visual platform. NFTs are so incredibly visual, but actually it doesn't quite lend itself to being the go-to platform for NFTs. But how did the Gary Vee thing come about?
We saw the tweet. We saw that he was looking to take on projects. We thought we had a strong mission. We had a strong core community. Like we had all the check boxes of why I thought we were going to do this well. So went and applied. And this goes with anything in life, right? Like don't be scared to, if you throw your hat in the ring, you're at least got a chance. So I went, filled out the form. Why did you create the project? It's founded by our kids. It's founded in a place of passion. Our 400 or 500 people that are here right now, like look at all the work and content they're already creating and wanting to be part of this community. So I think a lot of that resonated. We submitted, got an email back like a week later. Couldn't believe we did. Ended up popping on a couple of Zoom calls with the Veefriends team, who has been phenomenal from start to end. And then they're like, oh, by the way, you're going to be our first PLP.
Anyone who isn't, who is new to NFTs, can you just give a what PLP is, just so?
Yes, so it's it's Veefriends formerly. It's the Veefriends launch program. So with how it's built around is that you as a creator give 555 of your tokens, in this case dinos, to the Veefriends community. Veefriends is one of the biggest NFTs in the world. If you're, I guess, not familiar, hand drawn, or I think all of them have been hand drawn by Gary at this point. And they're meant to just be NFTs with really good messages, like
positivity.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I think a lot of it's resonated. They give you an access to the VCon, so they have a utility against them. Purpose of their program is to give projects like ours more visibility, and it did that and more, to the point of, and I'll touch on this probably later, but our launch was very much targeted by some known botters in the space that will snipe and take 30% of your entire supply. So we chose community first and did the entire drop manual. It now gives us a community that's even bigger than it was before. More holders, more people are holding dinos, more are talking about dinos. So like every step of the way, we kind of chose community first.
One thing you mentioned earlier was that whilst you were building up to this point, you were already seeing people. Were you running like cookery classes and things? No, not at that point. But
Chris would do a teaser of some kind of dino he's working on, some trait, and then somebody like, oh, my little girl wanted to copy it. And they like printed it out on like, construction paper, and we're going to town with, colored pencils and crayons, and then they drop the picture in Discord and tweet about it. And we're like this and that with but it wasn't just one person. It was like multiple people in the Discord were doing this on the daily.
The chicken nuggets thing also. There was like, somehow we got on like chicken nuggets, like dino chicken nuggets, which I don't know if they're available where you are, but like they sell dinosaur chicken nuggets, which are like a super popular little like kids treat snack, whatever. So from there we were like, oh, well, let's just put a recipe channel in, and then people just started dropping random recipes into that channel, and then we posted some and pinned them, and like we probably could go back and create an entire like Dapper Dino cookbook at this point with the amount of like recipes that they put in there. The things that we are still like pretty true to is making sure that everything grows organically. I think if you look at a lot of other projects, they do like a like tweet, share, repost with like 2 of your friends, and we haven't done that a single time yet. With like just to gain followers, we intentionally took that out of the playbook because we didn't want bots and fake followers to just come in for a chance to win a dino and then leave as soon as they got it.
I think we did one at the very, very beginning because we're like, everyone else is doing it, and then you find out like the people that you're getting following is is not people that care about your project.
Right.
It's hard because it's demoralizing at times to see, hey, you know, when we just started at
followers
35, 40 people, and then the rest are like, when airdrop, when freebie. And those are people that aren't going to be there. They're not going to be your ride or dies. They're not going to be the people that are going to like tell people about why your project's cool and why the creators are cool and why you're the next big thing. Our whole launch day got changed. So the plan was we could have flipped the API immediately. Thus, the second people started minting, they would have been revealing. It was not intended to be blind. What happened was one of the biggest botters in the space kind of targeted our project. They try to wear their white hat and say they're doing it for good, but more or less what they do is they take a huge chunk of the supply. And candidly, you know, the smart contract powering it wasn't strong enough after reaching out to quite a few other friends and connections in the space to kind of stop this kind of attack. So our options were go forward with it and just let it happen, which was an option, and it probably would have still sold out and done well, or, you know, well, it would have sold out. But that's not, you know, what the goal we're going for. So we had the option of just let that happen and basically kind of screw over a huge chunk of our community who had been there for as long as they have, or just not mint at all. And this is where, well, being doxxed, but also having Gary's backing and his brand and Veefriends behind us, we just did like a manual mint where people would send ETH to a wallet, and then we would airdrop every single dino directly to their wallet.
Wow. Did that cost you a lot in gas? Like just doing it?
Yeah, but we built it into the, you know, into the fee that we said. I think what did we say? 0.075, 0.08.
Yeah,
we were planning to do 0.0555, but we just basically said the average GUI is going to be about this much. So, you know, we know it's going to cost a ton to airdrop every one of these. So just build it in. There's not going to be any gas war. We're just going to airdrop it directly to your wallet. So there's not a lot of trust in the NFT space. So it's risky. Like how we did it isn't going to work for everyone. And so that, you know, I would say candidly, go find a better smart contract. If I could go back and do it all over again with a stronger whitelist function and stronger abilities to combat bots like we were seeing, but also be willing to hear your community. I mean, they were basically saying like, don't do this. Don't just let them go get 30%, 40% of the supply. It was a stressful day because we were supposed to be minting and then turning the API on and everything. And instead we were panicking, well, not panicking, we were shifting the whole launch plan. So we ended up doing a reveal at, was it the next day? Did we end up, so we had to, like, you know, get all 9,999 dinos out. So we had to drop them over the course of 24 hours. And then I think the next day at like 8 o'clock, we ended up saying, like, popping the API on and everyone's dinos were hatching. And
wow.
So then we had like a live reveal of the dinos.
You guys,
that where the dino dropper also came from, out of that that one, or was it before that? It was that.
That was right at that, you know, when we kind of created our little airdropper that helped with getting a whole bunch of if you needed to drop NFTs, you have bulk sender, but you also now have the dino dropper 3,000.
I love that. See, because it's really interesting, because I know you speak about gas wars and trying to avoid that, and obviously it's great that you have the backing of Gary and stuff, but I've seen projects where the community sentiment has been tipped over into the negative side because of the problems around launch. So look at something like the Sevens as a good example of this, right? So they did a blind reveal. They had such hype around this, and then I think it was someone from, well, I can't remember what country.
So the same group that targeted them was the one targeting us.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
That was like 1 week before, maybe a few days before we launched. So it was the same group.
Okay.
We have to actually give credit to some of the, I guess it was some of the people in that Discord. They were messaging us they said, you're getting botted, like, and they were sending screen grabs of like the percentage. They go in and they vote on it, and they were basically saying, look, you're like number 3 right now you're number 2, like, you're definitely getting botted, do something about it. And that was like, what, an hour before the launch. Like, it was so close to the launch, and I guess they throw all the information up, ask the community what they want, they vote on it, and then they say okay, and they target that project.
A drop.
So we got to give them a little bit of credit for the people that were in there that were feeding it to us and saying, like, hey, this is going to happen. You guys have to make a choice as to how you want to handle it.
When that all happened, and after that happened, what was the community sentiment like? Were they understanding of the problem, or actually was it something that you then had to go into damage control and recover from?
Overwhelmingly positive. I think I was more stressed about it than they were. Chris kept telling me to calm down. He's like, look at this. Like, they they think, they're 100% had our backs. I think everyone was anxious for the reveal, and there were some hiccups with just a lot of little pieces of it, just based on the fact that there were so many moving pieces at that point that weren't supposed to be moving. But that was pretty awesome. So it was just like, I was stressed about it and the community wasn't.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, we as collectors actually have no real idea what's going on from the development side, up until the minute. We just see what we want to see. Like, I was part of, I'm sure you guys have heard of the Boss Beauties NFT.
Oh,
yeah. So similar kind of process to you guys. It actually was really, really smooth. And we had the 24 hours and then the reveal. And what became very apparent in that reveal was that it didn't matter on rarity for people. They just wanted to be involved, and they wanted to be one of that 10,000. And that for me was suddenly like, because you don't want to open up or like hatch your NFTs and then just go, oh, I didn't get a rare one. So I assume that because your community was so committed that actually people just loved what they got. Is that right? Or was the rarity?
Have people that
overwhelmingly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, and the people are just going through like more so than I think Chris ever expected. Of like they'll pop on our voice or our like our video sharing part of Discord, and they'll start going over like different traits and like literally pop a dino up in OpenSea and be like, it could be the number 9,700 of rarity, and they're still going to talk about like the cool part of his monocle or the detail in the t-shirt or some little aspect that you never think they would talk about, and they'll spend 30 minutes dissecting the different pieces. So again, it comes back to that, like the community aspect. It isn't necessarily the rarity, which of course everyone's trying to snipe the like super rare, and that's the whole like looks rare meme, but they also just like the look, and that helps. And Boss Booties is another great example of like, sure, looks rare, but at the end of the day, being part of that community and like having that moment of like reveal and
feeling part of something,
sense of belonging. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Then the hard work begins for you guys, right? Because like you've done it, you've got this out to your community, but actually you need to maintain that momentum. So what was the kind of a plan of action straight after the launch? What were you doing for your community from that point onwards?
Planning, a whole lot of planning, still planning today. I mean, we need to like literally probably set aside a couple days just to fully map out the next few months. We've got pretty much most of October mapped out at this point. But it's, that would actually be the biggest advice I would give is, map
it out like bi-weekly or monthly and just know where you're going with it. And we're getting better at it. Obviously, like we were so focused on the art, the dev part, like side of it, the community building. But then when you're like the ideas are on the whiteboard and rattling around in our head, it's like now you just have to break them out and like in a cohesive way. So everyone is on board. Like our mods know which like initiative
what's coming up
out today and which tweets to send out in the morning. Like, so we're getting better at that. We've actually like worked with a couple people to build a team out that is handling that part of it.
Yeah.
So I think from this point on, within like the next week or so, it's going to like,
and that goes to show you how long it took us to kind of get to, you have to, the what is it? The horse has to, the carriage and the horse. Like you have to, the community doesn't really care when things happen. They want to know, like they don't, if timelines slide, that's okay, but they want to have a rough expectation of what's coming up. And they like teasing and they like hype. So there's, you gotta manage like hype cycles with when you can actually deliver work and when you can actually do things. But so in between those, have fun events, but make sure they're like well known ahead of time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where the monthly calendar kind of comes from. Like, here's our stated goals for the month of this, and this. So that way, the first week you can have fun and get excited about this. Second week, this.
How does this future look for you? This long-term vision?
Yeah, our big thing that we're hanging one of our hats on is our own metaverse. So dino breeding, the whole like, sandbox Decentraland thing, but our own. Really kind of centered around your dino. I think that's what's going to really set us apart, is that kind of you enter, Dinotropolis. We built a whole narrative that a comet's going to destroy Dinotropolis because the elders called for it, and a bunch 555 dinos sacrificed themselves and were reborn with some really fantastic background art by some really fantastic artists. But that whole narrative is now built around, two sets of dinos. You have the Karma Collective and the Standard Collection, which have traits, and it'll be kind of a genetic game of, you breed your dinos in much the same way of Zedron or Axie, where you breed your dinos, they pass their traits down to the children, the baby dinos, derpy dinos. We've heard all kinds of different terms of what we're going to call that. So you breed your dinos. That'll kind of be phase one. There'll be an ERC20 token component to the breeding that goes to both the dinos you hold, but then to the rest of the community every time something is being bred. That's kind of, again, phase one. Phase two of that is going to be building out like what comes next. So battling, I think there's a huge demand for like some kind of RPG, dino battling element, dino racing. So, we're still mapping out, like, once we get breeding down solid, what's the next utility or the next fun that we can do. We have a great dev team that can help land a lot of that.
Does that look like a play as you earn kind of tournament style thing, or?
A little bit, yeah. So through that, we call it the fossil token. So it'll be, where I think we're going to be really unique is the fossil token is like every time somebody breeds, say, hey, I want to go breed with your dino. Well, I got to pay you in fossil to do that. So I've earned some fossil. Mm-hmm. And then, by the way, like 10 or 20% of that fossil is going to go to the whole community, all the dinos. And so every time, so even if you're not playing, you're still, able to earn fossil. And if you are interacting or you have rare dinos or all the above, then you're earning even more. And that's kind of one aspect. We have our devs really want to do mini games so that way you can be more engaged. It's that whole going back to like engagement in the community. So if you have like mini games where you can earn fossil, it'll get everyone talking about like, that was hard, what's your top score? And then it's more that, and then it's the competition aspect of, some kind of battling, some kind of racing, what defines the rarity or the skill or the power of the dino that's bred. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of, and we understand the importance of each phase of that. Mm-hmm. And then bringing that all back around of like your own world, we really want to do kind of an Animal Crossing world where like your dino has its own dino den, dinotropolis, where you can like decorate it with other NFTs or stuff you can buy in the merch shop using fossil. So it's like a whole utility circle of, you have the fossil token, which can be used to, upgrade and do things with your bred dinos. It can be used to put stuff on the wall of your den. It can be used stuff to like plant stuff all around your dinotropolis, dino den, whatever we're going to call it. And so that's like, again, it's meant to be like each person's going to have their own little world that's going to be a part of a much bigger metaverse.
For anyone that's stepping into this space and kind of going, oh God, I don't know where to start. I don't know. I'm worried about building a community. Like, what advice would you give to them?
It's a lot of work. Be willing to like get down in the mud and be one with your community and work hard. I know it sounds like the 2-3 obvious check marks, but the biggest learning is that it's going to be way more work than you can ever expect. Which we did expect, but it's take what you expected and multiply by 3.
At least 3. That's the conservative, like 3 is minimum.
10x.
Yeah. Be willing to be adaptive. You're going to get demand. Everyone's going to have an opinion in the room. Like your roadmap sucks. Yeah. You're not working fast enough when marketing. That's still, we have one of the best communities in the NFT space. Like I can say that unequivocally, and yet we still get that. And just be willing to answer the question. Like don't be
constructive.
Don't like throw the fodder out. It's more like, okay, why are you unhappy? I think I was doing it at like 2:30 last night of like, okay, you have this concern. How can I talk to you about it?
Yeah.
It is interesting that no matter how perfect you think something is, like we could think that it's the greatest idea, everything is going to go, and there's definitely going to be a handful of people that get aggravated with it or it doesn't sit well with them.
Yep.
I think you just have to stick to your guns a bit.
Yeah. And we also have 21,000 people. We're
not going to please 21,000 people, but as long as the majority is happy with what you're doing something right.
What an incredible, incredible project the Dapper Dinos are. They have been grinding, working hard, and making sure that they make the right steps that are community first. And I think if you're wanting to learn in the right way, please stay tuned to not just this video, but these ones as well, because you'll be able to learn exactly how great projects have done things in the right way. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Stay tuned to Nifty World.